Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. FK Tech. Peugeot's new 308 no longer competes with standard entry-level hatchbacks. Luxury and pricing have been scaled up to go alongside the German unit's premium hatchback. While the rebranding and repositioning of automakers is a growing trend in the market as the electric age approaches, Peugeot is implementing one of the biggest rebrands ever seen, with the new 308 creating a flying car. Start giving it your all. It's the company's first model to feature a completely redesigned logo, now a crest with a shiny lion's head, as the brand did briefly in the 1960s, and it's also the clearest sign that Peugeot's competition is clear. This is perhaps most evident in the price tag. Two hatchback variants are currently offered in Australia. The GT starts from $43,990 and the GT Premium tested here costs $48,990, both excluding on-road costs. The 308 wagon returns with a top-of-the-line model available only in GT Premium trim for $50,490, and the flagship 308 GT plug-in hybrid sport hatchback will join the lineup in 2023. With that in mind, these new 308 vehicles will be the Audi A3 Sportback 35 TFSI, BMW 118i M Sport and Mercedes-Benz A180, rather than the conventional and affordable hatchbacks they used to compete with. After all, this new model was once in 308 GTI territory when it comes to pricing, only the new GTI is not on the cards. In appearance alone, this new 308, the third generation to wear this number badge, is immediately a thoroughly premium prospect. Of course, despite the names of the three opponents I mentioned above, this would be the best of the bunch. The new logo is a bit odd given how long Peugeot's previous label has been around, but the dashboard's smart lines and modern design are appealing, especially in this olivine green. As is usual with premium cars, when approaching the car, the welcome scene created by the taillights or the courtesy light that descends the new Peugeot badge reminds us how far this step has to go. Actually it is. Stepping up to this GT Premium model sets it apart with subtle changes such as 18-inch alloy wheels in matte black. The interior has familiar touches of other recent Peugeot models. The high-mounted instrument panel and small, flat-topped steering wheel are familiar, but the interior's overall presentation is taken up a notch. Alcantara upholstery, variegated fabric surfaces, Napa leather upholstery and bright green contrasting stitching not only give it a premium feel, but it's a step up from its German rivals. Technology is also impressive, as all Peugeot 308 models come standard with a 10.0-inch digital instrument cluster and a 10.0-inch infotainment touchscreen, but these aren't your typical in-car displays either. On the instrument front, this 3D iCockpit display is, as the name suggests, a true 3D display, with a panel at the top of the cluster to expose the top layer of information. I like the high mounting position of the cluster, but it could do with sitting a little higher. For those of you who like low seats like me, you'll see that the top of the wheel overlaps the bottom of the screen. Similarly, the infotainment system is no ordinary single screen, because underneath is another small touch screen for the eye toggles. The system on the 10.0-inch home screen is also great. It has a decent TomTom Sat NAV with plenty of tweaks, real-time traffic updates, wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. The screen is also well placed on the driver's seat, being easy to lift and point at the angle that suits you. Take the 308 GT Premium tested here and the Peugeot has some pretty impressive luxury features. What sound do the heated front massage seats make on the heated steering wheel? There's also an excellent 10-speaker Focus audio system. If you add level 2 semi-autonomous driving technology to it, it's plausible in my eyes. Overall, the ergonomics of the cockpit are a little interesting, with a small, oddly shaped steering wheel, a stiff shifter that looks like a shifter, and an oddly placed angled screen, but to my eyes it all works. Yes, it's far from the usual story you see in most cars these days, but that's what makes it cool. It has other features not often found in modern car design. Drivers can feel immersed in the cabin, and that's exactly what you want. That said, given the 308's slim proportions, the rear seats are cramped and there's no rear center bolster to accommodate rear seat passengers. Boot space is certainly impressive at 384/1295L, rear seats up/down, in the GT Premium hatch, but you can get more space in the GT hatch, for 12/1323L, and GT Premium Wagon, 608/1634. Liter. Whichever model you choose, all currently available versions of the 2023 Peugeot 308 share a 1.2-liter 3-cylinder turbo petrol engine with 96 kilowatts and 230 Nm, backed by an 8-speed automatic transmission and front suspension. Motivation.
Left uncovered, I'm thinking about 4-leaf clovers. I've got composure, silver coin. You hold me, turn me over right now, but expect to forget about it. Watch as the breeze burns golden smoke that you've stolen. Feels like it's my fortune that you're folding. Swimming with the sharks.
As you'd expect from 3 pots, these are little things that look like a swarm of angry bees when watered. However, it's very quiet when you're around town and the power delivery is surprisingly smooth and direct. But the major caveat is that there aren't many of them. The 308 may weigh 1,258 kilograms, but its double-digit power numbers are still not that much by today's standards, as 0 to 100 miles per hour sprints are much easier. It goes in 9.7 seconds. However, this strong torque available at 1750 RPM makes it the perfect bike for low gear shifting. This engine also pairs well with an Eisen-supplied transmission. The transmission is perfectly tuned to shift like a dual clutch when going faster, while providing the finesse of a torque converter around town. The paddle shifters have also been discreetly moved from the steering column to the steering wheel itself, making them even easier to use. Despite its slight lack of power, the 308 is still a lot of fun to drive thanks to its fantastic chassis. Staying smooth and poised through corners, the perfectly weighted and amazingly responsive steering brain makes it very easy to get it where you want it on the road. Add to that the small size of the steering wheel and it only adds to the go-kart feel when pushed. The narrower and more twisty the road, the better this featherweight hatch. Despite using a torsion beam rear axle rather than fully independent suspension, it stays calm on bumpy urban roads. Your only complaint about it is that there's a little more road noise than you'd like. It's also worth noting that Peugeot's upcoming 308 GT Sport PHEV is underpowered. In addition to the electric assist, it replaces the 3-cylinder with a 1.6-liter turbo 4-cylinder found in many other Peugeot models. With 165 kilowatts and 360 Nm of power, this powerhouse will hold its own if you're looking for some real fun in one of these. Finally, the 3-cylinder will be more suitable for city work and is better in terms of fuel economy too. After driving 180 kilometers, including Adelaide Hills country roads and some high-speed stretches, we saw a return of 7.1L/100 km versus the claimed 5.3L/100 km. In the early stages of testing, when I was sticking to city streets and short highways, this requirement was relevant. If you push harder and get more speed, you have to work harder, and as a result you get very thirsty because your teammates are doing all this. Like all Peugeot models, the 308 is backed by a 5-year unlimited mileage warranty, which also includes 5 years of free roadside assistance. On the maintenance side, you can save money by choosing one of Peugeot's prepaid service packages. The 3-year prepaid plan is $1,000 and $427, and the 5-year plan is $1,800 and $689. If the lack of power doesn't bother you if you really drive around town, it probably won't. The 308 is a really great car to beat the Germans in the premium hatchback game. It's stunning in the best ways, looks fantastic, is a gem in the handling department and offers a very impressive kit. That said, with on-the-road cost in the $50,000 range, the GT Sport PHEV will undoubtedly be expensive and something serious drivers will really want to wait for. Australian pricing has yet to be confirmed. In GT premium spec, the Audi A1 is cheaper but undercuts the BMW 118i and Mercedes A-Class. This is pretty good for the current market segment of premium Euro hatchbacks. Those who go to this group are people do not have to consider them, and Peugeot's market share is small in Australia. I hope the brand can reach the style of the city. This car of the city centre is attractive because there is a clear winner if possible. Advantages, added to technical, non-patient divisions, appearance and technical departments and additional, efficient and impressive fuel consumption. Disadvantages, you can hurt firmly in the engine compartment. Simpler said, 2023 Peugeot 308 is a strange style and premium leaves provided by Audi, BMW and Mercedes. Whether the buyer has enough buyers, it is important to consider the important competitors. For drivers, hold your horses and wait for the GT Sport PHEV to arrive next year. Because it will solve the 308's only real